Alright, my guys, my tribe, listen. I'm gonna make this again, this is gonna be, I just wanna put something out there, you feel what I'm saying, to spark some thought real fast, right? Who I'm about to talk about, y'all probably ain't familiar with him at all, right? And let me throw this disclaimer out. Anything I be talking about, I'm typically, it's typically off like something I read, maybe a documentary I seen, but that's it. Like maybe something, something I read 9 times out of 10, or documents that slash documentaries, that I might have watched over and studied or whatnot. I don't really be jotting it down and have my little thoughts together and everything. So it's just those two things, and then my assessments. You know what I mean? How I assess the situations. You dig what I'm saying? So I just want to throw that out there. I want to ask y'all about. Are y'all familiar with Stanley Meyers? You probably aren't. This was a guy who invented a water-fueled car. Yes. A water-fueled car. Okay? It was proven, like he did it. He came up with this, like he invented his own fuel, so he had a patent for it. Came up with a patent for it. He had the prototype that he was driving. He kept it in his garage. I believe he's from Ohio. Right? From Ohio somewhere. Grove City, Ohio. I believe that's it in a nutshell. But definitely Ohio. He probably did this in the 70s, 80s or whatnot. You dig what I'm saying? He ended up selling the patent to GMC, it was even then was a big time corporation, still is now. Hence corporation. Okay. Which, and at the time, GMC, they was the lead they was the front runner in car sales. Right? Which runs off of combustible fuels, right? Gasoline, petroleum, and what the blood oil, what to this day. Okay? Right. So, long story short, man, he sold them his patent in hopes of them producing, so these cars could be in production and he could sell them to the public. Whereas though we ain't gonna be sitting here relying on, fossil fuels. Combustible fuels, right? Gasoline that's harmful. That the toxin emissions, once the situation goes through, the gas, them fumes, they're deadly. Number one, you can die, you can suffocate yourself. People have committed suicide or maybe got sick, not even that. Well, it is here, but that's not what I want to talk about. I don't want to get you drawn off. But like a way to save the earth, to preserve the earth for better. Cleaner emissions from us driving vehicles. So he invented a water powered vehicle. It was proven. He had the prototype. He sold it to GMC for a couple million. I don't know if it was 2-3 million or more. Don't quote me on that. You should be able to look it up. Probably it's gonna be hard because they trying to discredit the man. You know what I'm saying? After they poisoned him, and I believe they did it in like '98. In the '90s, I'm gonna say, but yeah, they poisoned him, and that was his last. That was some of his last dying declarations of like when he took a sip of his drink, and he dropped to his knees sometime afterwards, and he straight told his twin brother, he has a twin, they poisoned me. So he's not a fool. So after he sold the patent to them, under the agreement of him even getting the money, they told him, "Oh, you can't reproduce this no more, or we can sue you." You understand? You can't do that. You know, these corporation tools that they use. You know what I mean? To keep, yeah, man. This is just one, but this is what they tell them. Like, well, yeah, you can't produce this. This is ours now, cause we sold it. We bought it from you. You know, everything's fair, right? In business, once you sign on them dotted lines. I mean, this is what you agree to. It's a contract. He sold them that, but he did it in thinking they would produce the thing. Years come by, these water powered vehicles aren't even being mentioned. They nonetheless being in production. So like, that's crazy. Like, how? Like, he did it himself. Like, this is a big corporation who has tons of money, you know, tons of manpower, even machinery. You feel what I'm saying? Even back then, you know what I mean? That they could have, like, some productions. You know, you could have had 1,000 of them on the road or something like that. Not, you know, thousands. You know what I mean? I'm just being modest by saying 1,000. So he found that to be odd. He then wound up reproducing the car again, which is a breach of contract. But he started doing secretly. He was telling people, like, man, like, we could be driving. Like, this is a watered fuel cell that he came up with this. He invented this thing. You know what I mean? And it was working. It was driving. He was driving it. There's probably videos of him driving it. You dig what I'm saying? I watched a video, a documentary. This documentary I probably watched it over a decade ago. Yeah, man. I'm just bringing this to now to be like, we could be sitting here driving water powered vehicles. From tap water, rainwater, distilled water, spring water, whatever you want to talk about. When we go to work, you know how much gas is? You know what I mean? Boom. So I want to throw that out there. They poisoned that man after they found out that he was still doing this and spreading the idea that, you know, this is possible. This is a possibility. I invented this and I sold this idea to the GMC. They ain't doing nothing with it. Right? So in turn, this is how corrupt these devils be, you know what I mean, at work, you know what I mean? So they silenced him, they got him out of there. They took him out of there because they realized, like, okay, he's gonna still be spreading this. We don't want this to get too far. We don't want this to get too far. Once the people realize, like, oh my goodness, we could be riding around in something that we can essentially get for free. Yeah, they trying to tax us for water. This is free. That's a whole nother video. You know what I mean? Because it's people in other countries that they privatizing the water. They can't even sit their bucket out and collect rainwater, you know, without being against the law. These devils at work. We gotta open our eyes, people. Like, this stuff is real. And privatization is real. They're privatizing things, and that's hence the name, privatizing. They're making it legal to not disclose information that should be available to the public. Us, the people, we, the people. Open your eyes, people. We are the government. We the people. We got to come together, unity. You understand what I'm saying? That's it. They don't want that. That's why they have all these things to try to keep it, divided. You know what I mean? Which is another video. I'll talk about in the future. But anyway, I just want y'all to understand. They look up for my tribe, my dedicated ones. Look them up. Look them up. It's real. They even try to still discredit him today. Like, oh no, it was a failure. He was a fraud. No, it was real. He did that, and that's why they poisoned him. They poisoned. They corrupt. That's how corrupt they is. They couldn't even let this man, you feel what I'm saying, bring this to fruition. Well, he did bring it to fruition, but to the people, he had it for himself, and he sold the patent for some millions. In the 90s, they didn't produce the idea, so they just bought the idea to suppress it. And you gotta ask yourself why. GM, these corporate, the owners, they was in the big business with gasoline companies and stuff like that too. So they own some of them as well. So like that, what that was, you gotta think about, like, okay, well, why would they kill him? Why would it just be? because that mean in reconstructing their whole business model and the way they got their money. They would have lost out on a lot of money. People get cars, buying cars from them, but when you get a car, you have to buy what? Gasoline. It's fairly simple. It's not a rocket science. It's fairly simple. You know what I mean? So them doing it, they don't want to do that. They don't want to, and then it's beneficial for us and the earth. You know what I mean? It's cleaner emissions. You know what I mean? How the hydrogen and oxygen, it was breaking down into the water. Then it would come back. It made it like he made this perpetual water cell. It was lit. I mean, beautiful minds that we have, man. And this was a Caucasian. So I just want y'all to I just want to throw that out there, man. Like my head hurt. I ain't even about to talk to y'all, you know what I mean, too much more. I had to get this off and get this out there to my people. Stanley Meyers. Rest in power, brother. Yeah, it's a dangerous game when you get into this things that actually help the people for the better. You know what I mean? And these devils, especially these corporations, you gotta watch them. You know what I mean? It's all the same. That's what so-called run the world. Them really, they don't want you to know that though. You know what I mean? It has just been bad business for them. You know what I mean? Because they lost a lot of money. They had to redoing. They didn't want to do all that. You know what I mean? They don't want to help the people. You know what I mean? To better the people. You know? A need for read.